What's happening, people? We're back and we're here for the weekend preview. We've got a great guests lined up for you. You know them all. They know we need no introduction. I'm going to start with Guni. Guni, how are you feeling, bro?
Another week, another shambles, bruv. Here we are. But we're here to talk about it, innit?
Yeah, man, we're going to chop it up. Flawless back in the house. Been a while, bro. How are you, mate?
I'm blessed, man. Big up for having me, man. Looking forward to the show. Hey, looking forward to talking about United. But other than that, I'm all good. And like I said, thanks for having me on.
Nah, come on, man. You're always welcome. You know that. Romz back again, man. What are you saying?
No, thanks for having me again. Big up people in the comments, smash the likes, big up Flawless, big up Guni, and big up Dan himself. But yeah, thanks for having me. I'm ready just to speak about ball. I've got a little 10-day rest and just ready to speak about everyone else.
Oh, my name's Romz. Liverpool top of the league. Everything's all right over here.
Yeah, this guy. Look,
you said it, not me. You said it, not me.
Look how happy he is. Oh man, no.
He's happy,
But
man.
we could have just had it be you and Goody on the live stream.
I know,
we
man.
We could all equally just complain and be like, all right, well,
had a rant
Yeah.
off on the channel. Do you know what I'm saying? But now you got Rom sitting there like looking all glum and
yeah, I know. You know what I'm saying? Just grinning bare
man.
teeth and that. You know what I'm saying?
I can't believe it, man. Listen, I don't think there's anywhere else to start other than yourself, Goody, because this is actually getting a joke now. Like, I watched your game against Middlesbrough, and I understand why people have said that some of the things they've said about Chelsea, right? But when it comes to this man Pochettino, I'm starting to scratch my head and wondering what the hell this guy's doing. Because I looked at the game, I didn't see it all. I'm not gonna lie, didn't really tempt me to watch it, if I'm honest, without being rude to Chelsea or to Middlesbrough. Weren't really a game I wanted to tune into, but I looked here and I thought, what the hell is this from Chelsea? That is absolutely shambles. And then some of the decision making, particularly the substitutions, I was like, nah, this guy don't know what he's doing. Like, this is actually bad now. Like, so when people have spoken to me before about Poch and said, oh, Potts, I think he's overrated. I know he did all right at Spurs. I don't think he's a winner. I don't think he's going to get him across the line, anything. I'm like, I can't argue against that. And when I'm seeing performances that he's putting in, managerial performances now, Goody, I'm like, yeah, this guy's not winning anything here. So where you at, bruv?
Oh, he's got to go. He has to go, bruv. Yeah, that Middlesbrough game. Do you want me to tell you that what's even more disgusting than the game itself, which I've done the best to erase out of my memory? The most disgusting thing about this Pochettino guy is this man after the game actually had the audacity to come out and say, we played well. We actually played well. Absolute waste, man.
No
Absolute
way.
joke, man. Get him out of the club. And before the game, yeah, I put out a tweet because this guy was talking all this talk about we have to manage expectations and realize where we are at the minute and look at this team before Middlesbrough. So what should my expectations be before facing a mid-table team in the championship? All of this talk about, oh yeah, the team's not good enough, all of this kind of stuff. I'm not trying to hear that, bro. Middlesbrough are 12th in the championship. Coventry City beat them 3-1 the week before then. And we got packed 1-0. And the wickedest thing, Dan, is I said before the game, if they go 1-0 up, we are done out here, mate. We're screwed because I thought they was going to park the bus. But guess what? They didn't even park the bus. Do you know why? Because they don't respect us. They don't respect us. Cole Palmer, that game, yeah, I'm not even going to crash it on this guy because he's been our best player. But my goodness me, he was playing as the false 9 or number 9, whatever you want to call him. The chances that this guy missed was disgraceful. But even with those 3 clear-cut chances that he missed, in my head, I'm thinking it's Middlesbrough, mid-table in the championship. We can probably get another 3 against these, man. But guess what happens? They score and we don't come back. Yeah, now we're 1-0 down going into the second leg. They're so lucky it's the second leg. And another thing I've got to say about Pochettino, you absolute prick insulting our intelligence. How dare you? How absolutely dare you? This man came out in a press conference. Do you know what he said? Do you know what this actual waste man said? Last season, Brighton lost against Middlesbrough. Do you know what the actual score was? Brighton 5, Middlesbrough 1. Caicedo told me that they lost. You absolute prick. Hold this, an absolute hairy middle finger, you absolute prick. You are. How can you sit there and lie? You sit there and lie in your press conferences. You sit there and you tell us that we should manage our expectations against a mid-table championship club. Get out of my club. And you know what? The man's a pawn. He's actually one of the smaller problems in this. This is how screwed we are, Chelsea fans. I've been trying to tell you. I've been trying to tell you. Pochettino for me is at the bottom of the totem pole, but he needs to get out of the club. The next thing is definitely the squad. The squad is nowhere near good enough. I'm sorry, Chelsea fans, you lot got your expectations. These players going to get good in 2, 3, 4 seasons. No, there's only 5 players that are worth keeping at Chelsea Football Club. One of them or 2 of them I haven't even seen play 3 games. So I'm even taking a gamble with those 2. Talking about Nkunku and Lavia. Yeah? This squad is rubbish. And now we've got to go to the culprits who actually just broke up this Chelsea, absolutely gutted out this team. Yeah, Paul Winstanley and that absolute prick, whatever his name, Stewart. Get them out of the club. That recruitment team is a serious problem at Chelsea. Then the biggest one is the ownership. The ownership, we're not going to be able to do anything to get them out because they own the club. But we have to speak as fans. We've got to stop here and being passive and doing a Stevie Wonder, just not seeing nothing. We have to stop doing all of that. We've got to start talking because this club is on the way to hell. It's actually on the way. It's going down. It's getting worse every single season. And never ever think in your life, yeah, that any club is too big for relegation, especially when they're acting like this. It might not happen this season. It might not happen next season. But please understand, if this pattern of behavior continues, it could become a reality. We need to do something. ASAP. No faith in going into any games whatsoever. We're playing Fulham this weekend. Fulham, although they lost against Liverpool the other day, they look like they would have put up a better performance than we would against Liverpool. I don't even see us winning that, and we're at Stamford Bridge. We've got a serious problem at Chelsea, and people need to get their head out of their ass and start waking up. Stop defending people. Stop defending culprits at this club. Well, maybe somewhere down the line, Pochettino's going to get it right. This guy has shown you his true colours. You're playing centre-backs at left-backs. You're playing left-backs at right-backs. You're playing right-backs at left-backs. You're playing left-backs at left wing. You're playing strikers in... It's mental. You're playing attacking midfielders in a pivot. It's absolutely, and you're playing pivot players in the number 10. What are you doing here, bro? What are we actually doing here? And I've always used to say this on my channel, yeah? From you as a person who's got no badges and you support a club, and you can clearly see, clear as day, managerial mistakes that can easily be rectified like this, you have a serious problem at your club. And we're seeing them week in, week out at Chelsea Football Club. How can Potts not identify the problem? But every Tom, Dick and Harry that watches Chelsea week in, week out, some as young as my son, who's 8 years old, by the way, can see what the problem is. But you as the manager and your team can't. Get out of my club, man. I'm done with this whole Chelsea situation. I didn't even mean to rant, but the more I started speaking, the more I got upset, bro. The more I got upset. Each topic just...
I hear it. I hear it.
It's me.
I hear it, man. I think you're spitting facts. Personally, I don't think there's anything I disagree with. Listen, I'll throw this one to you, Flawless, right? Because this is in the chat from Rachel saying, "Do the ownership need to take any responsibility for the squad that's been built?" And the reason I brought that up is because when this all come about, yeah, and Todd Bowley was put in charge, I didn't like the idea of this plan of just buying kids and expecting to just go overnight and actually go and have 5 or 6 years of sustainability at the top. Because for me, I looked at the Chelsea squad and I didn't see a goalkeeper I rated and I didn't see a striker that I rated. Those things you need if you want to win trophies or succeed, right? Now, don't get me wrong, they're a few points off European positions. They could get to a cup final, blah, blah, blah. But Guni's absolutely right with Pochettino. He's having issues, but there's more issues than him, man. Chelsea's a mess, isn't it, bruv?
Yeah, there is definitely more issues than him. But what Guni said, the issues that Poch is causing is nothing to do with the squad being built. Playing left backs at right back is nothing to do with the way the squad's built. Playing right backs at left back, you know what I'm saying? And playing pivot players in the 10 and number 10s in the pivot, that's nothing to do with the way the squad is built. In regards to, if they just fell short because of quality and Poch was doing all the right things, you then look at the squad. Is the squad the best? No. But is he getting the best out of the squad, what they have? Absolutely. That squad's better than 10th. Even if you don't rate it in regards to, I don't think it's good enough to go win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, no. But it is definitely 110% better than 10th when you look at that team, just in terms of sheer talent. Because if you put a better manager in charge, I think they are doing much better. And then there would be more onus on the ownership and the decisions they've made and the squad they've built. Because one thing about Chelsea is they are going to spend money. Some Poch, you can't be doing some of the things Poch is doing. I was like, you can't be doing like the way they're playing and things that he's saying, lying in press conferences. I thought that was a fake quote. You know what he said about Caicedo? Guni mentioned it in regards to they played them and did. So Guni, just to make this sure I'm correct on this, he said that Caicedo told him they had lost.
Legit, that's what he said.
That's what he said. But Brighton had actually won Brighton had won the game he was
They won
talking about.
5-1, bro.
They won. That goes to show, and on top of that, the pressure's getting to him. Because there's levels being at Chelsea. You're under the microscope when you're in the Chelsea managerial position, and when you're just blatantly lying. And yes, press conferences go from worst to worst. Like when you hear his quotes, like even stuff like when they played Bournemouth a couple months back, and he's like, "Yeah, we had to protect the point." Like you can you can't. What is going on?
Can't defend
That sounds like a relegation. That sounds like something like a Vincent Kompany would say. Like I would understand that away from home. And he's like, all right, but protect the point. Come on, you're Chelsea. You're playing Bournemouth away. Like you got the most expensive pivot in Premier League history in regards to your midfield.
I've got to say one more. I've got to say one more thing
cool.
before we you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what the scouting technique is at Chelsea Football Club?
Go on, what is it?
Have a guess, people.
Football manager.
Profile age.
Artificial intelligence. Artificial. You're laughing, but this is the fact.
The robots.
They're using AI. They're using an AI software to get the statistics of players all around Europe, right? And that's how they're basing their decisions on signing players. So why do we even have a scouting team at Chelsea Football Club if all we're going to be using is AI, ChatGPT FC? If that's all we're going to be using, this whole. Do you know who else? Do you know who else does this? Brighton, they do it, but do you know what else they do alongside with the AI? They send scouts out to watch the players as well. Do you know who else does this? The MLS. Respectfully, Americans that are watching this, where are you in the footballing totem pole? Big man thing. So why are we doing this at Big Chelsea, where we've won everything that there is to win? One of the most successful clubs in the last 20 years is using AI to scout players, and you're not even sending scouts out there long enough to go and see if they're good enough, or even if they fit in the club. This is what I mean. The owners are clueless. And do you know what I will say? Todd Boehly, right? In fairness to him, he's taken a massive step back. Dan, you got to replace the name Todd Boehly with Badad Egbali. This is the guy who's sitting there and making the partial decisions at the club. He needs to remove himself. He needs to just be quiet. You've got no expertise in football whatsoever. Ridiculous.
Mate, it's a lot of wrong at the club right now, and you always look at the top downwards and see what's wrong, and there's a lot wrong right now. Romz, I'll come to you on this because Chelsea at the moment it's not looking great. But I will say this, Guni said that the squad ain't good enough. I looked at that squad and I thought, yeah, your midfield, Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia when fit. But other than that, I'm not looking at many positions going, yeah, keep him. He's good. He's quality. That guy's sick. I rate him highly. I'm struggling now after a few players. And I spoke to Guni not long ago about the players he actually wants to keep at the club. Ain't that many when you look at it, like 100. So listen, Cole Palmer's done really well. And there's a few more you can add to that list this season. Other players that have been injured that you'd probably keep when they're fit. But the squad's not good enough, bruv, is it? Let's be real.
No, it's not. And the thing is, me and Goonies had this discussion before as well, and it wasn't many players, but I think two things can be right at once. Because even myself, I may have overrated some of Chelsea's players as well. But when you have the incompetence of the manager and the players not being to a certain level, and you combine both, it's a recipe for disaster. But I completely agree. But I think the frustration comes from Chelsea fans. Do they have enough to be beating the teams that they've lost to? 100%. Albeit, even if you don't rate the players to a standard that some majority of the fan base do, they're still good enough. And this is what I was saying on the stream yesterday. Your Enzos, your Caicedos, I can't even chuck Palmer into this because like Guni said, he's been their best player this season. But even if as a collective, your squad is poor, if you are a good player, you're going to shine. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb. Like, I'll use Flores' club, for example. Recently, Man United's midfield's poor in my opinion, but because Kobe Mino, he's young, but in my opinion, he's one of their better, if not, it might be rash to say, but probably on the technical side, probably their best midfielder. Even though everyone around him's dross, he still holds his own. He still stands out. So that's why I'm looking at your Caicedos and your Enzos, because there's this lazy narrative with Chelsea fans. Oh, but everyone around him's bad. Yeah, but you can still shine, because what will then happen is you'll stick out like a sore thumb, and the supporters will realize, he's actually playing well. It is the guys around him. And that's when you have to ask yourself, you're too good enough to be here. But you look at this Chelsea squad now, and you probably say Palmer, Gusto. Lavia's not played and Kunku's hardly played, but there's about 2 or 3 plays where you can see, you know what, you're actually playing well. But the players that they brought in for the big sums, like your Enzos, your Caicedos, your Mudriks have been a bit hot and cold, but them 3, you need to raise it. You need to raise it. But I agree with everything Guni says. And the thing is, this is where it's insanity, because the definition is doing the same thing over, not changing anything, doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting different results. Poch is going to continue to be playing these players out of position and whatnot, and it's only going to get worse. This is why I don't understand Chelsea fans that still have faith in this guy. Because even, yes, you might have a lot of injuries, but then be tactically adapt, maybe change the formation. Because they're saying, oh, our left backs, I think Chilwell's injured, someone else is injured, that's why Cole was playing there. Then maybe have a formation change to cater to their abilities in different positions. So I think he has to go, man. The fact there's a small minority that's still Poch in, you need to raise the standard, because he's not doing anything. Honestly, he's not doing anything now.
If he goes out to Middlesbrough, they'll get rid of him. But I don't look like he's going at the moment, does it? So he looks like he's staying right now. But for me, man, I think he was overrated anyway, or overhyped maybe not overrated. I thought he did a good job at Spurs, don't get me wrong. But let's have it right. Their title race, they come third, and they didn't win a Champions. In fact, it wasn't just not winning a Champions League. They put in the most embarrassing final performance I've seen Champions League in history. It was that bad. And let's be real, the guy's not won anything. Otherwise, he would have done well and still be at PSG. So to bring him in at Chelsea and just think he was going to go take him to the top, okay, you know, we might say 6 months ain't really enough time and he needs a whole season, if you like, stuff like that. I think people with a pair of eyes can see this guy's not going to last at Chelsea. Like, it ain't going to happen for me. And that's real talk. Goonie, what are you saying this weekend, bruv?
We're not winning
Goonies
that.
had enough feel. Goonies
We're
had
not
enough.
winning that.
Goonies
We're
had-
winning.
you know what the crazy part is? Goonies like level-headed and just like calmly watching. That's how you know it's bad.
Done out here.
When that's how I'm like, oh yeah, Chelsea in a bad way. That's how Gooney is.
What indication do I have that we're going to get any kind of result, even if it is at Stamford Bridge? What kind of indication have I been shown? Especially after, respectfully, didn't Fulham beat you the other week, Dan?
Yeah.
They didn't put in a terrible performance
And
against
so what?
Liverpool,
Anfield. They did.
despite the score being 3-1. Well, this is what I'm saying. So what am I going off? While this guy's still in the dugout, while we've got the squad that we do have, Willian is going to come back there and absolutely smoke us. Do you know what makes me what boils my head? Yeah, is the fact that we have regressed so much that if Willian was in this Chelsea squad, he would be our best winger.
Wow.
He would actually be our best winger, and I'm including Raheem Sterling in that conversation.
Wow.
He would be our best winger. This is how bad we are. Like I said to you, maybe 5 or 6 players that I would keep at the club. Badiashile, although he's been making mistakes, I'd still keep him because I've seen quality with him. Lavia, just based on the quality that I've seen from him previously at Southampton, but even still, that's a gamble. In Kunku, just previously at RB Leipzig, the quality that I've seen from there, again, another gamble. Cole Palmer, who's been performing at the club. Caicedo, he hasn't really been performing, but I still think there might be something there. 5 players. Those are the only players that I would keep. And I purposely kept out Enzo because for me, he's on a very, very tight rope for me. Very, very tight rope. We spent £105 million on a midfielder that we should have paid 35 million tops for. 100%. 100%. The guy is not world class. He's not world class. He's not been performing. He's never had a world class performance while he's been at Chelsea. And until I see that, that's when I'll accurately say, okay, cool. He is a world class player. But until I see it in the Premier League, for me, he's not. He's absolutely not.
I wanted to ask you about him, right? Because, and this is real, this is not me even bannering. I don't know what sort of midfielder that he is. Now, then maybe that's because I haven't watched him enough, right? I saw him have a good World Cup.
Sorry, and Gusto, that's 6. Go on.
Yeah, Gusto is a good player, man. I rate him.
Quickly, Dan. Would you keep the keeper, Guni? I think he's been somewhat decent.
No.
You think Petrovic is better, Guni?
Than who? Than Sanchez?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But I still wouldn't keep him.
It's still not levels, in it. It's still
it ain't levels. Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on this Enzo thing, man, because I don't think he's a bad footballer at all. I've seen him have unbelievable games of football, but what sort of midfielder is he? I don't see him as a attacking 10. I don't see him as an attacking 8. I don't really see him as a pivot or as a holding midfielder. I'm not even sure that he's really shown that he's a box-to-box midfielder at times. So my questions to you, bro, you watch him every week. What is this guy about, man?
Well, Pochettino doesn't know because he plays him at a number 10 one week, he'll play him in the pivot, another week he'll play him in the... He's been used as a DM. This is also part of the problem as well. So I'm not going to use that against Enzo, is that they haven't found him in a position that he's settled in. But for me, just based on his attributes from what I see, right, I think he should be in that pivot. I think when it comes to distribution of passes and advancing play, on his day, he's very good at it, right? He has been robbed of several assists because of the lack of quality that we have up front, and I'm saying that very kindly. The amount of assists that this guy's been robbed of is absolutely criminal. So I think he does well there. But what his biggest deficiency is for me is his lack of athleticism. It's killing him. It's absolutely killing him. And Caicedo's supposed to be the guy that's meant to be there to sort of alleviate that. But because of Poch's tactics, if you look at how far apart they are on the pitch, it's disgraceful. It's disgusting. They're always left isolated as well. Even in game, if you watch that Middlesbrough game, perfect example. One guy's all the way east, the other guy's all the way west. They're just as far apart from each other as possible. So you're just leaving each of them isolated. Now, Caicedo, he doesn't necessarily have that athleticism problem. He puts his body about. He can make tackles here and there. And to be fair on him, he can transition play as well pretty well. But Enzo, he's not as physical. He does get overrun quite a bit. But this is the thing. For £105 million, I'm expecting a midfielder that's able to be a little bit more press resistant than what I've seen from Enzo Fernandez. And he's just not really been showing it. So I've just been disappointed all round.
Listen, I can see why. I don't look at Enzo and think, wow, that is your best player. That is your over £100 million player right there. And to be fair, you got Caicedo. What was funny was Poch actually came out in one of the interviews and said, I think we might actually need some more midfielders. I was like, bro, you spent 250 million on this lot. What are you talking about? Like, honestly, insane, bro. Absolutely insane, this guy. But
I think at this point, he's just purposely trying to wind up the Chelsea fans.
Fully. This is what I mean.
Don't even give him that much credit. He's just straight panicking, man. That's why I'm just saying anything.
Yeah, man.
He's panicking. The pressure's getting to, man. You know what I'm saying? He's going under. You're being criticized left, right, and center. There's bad results week in, week out. There's reports of players being unhappy. The fans are on your case. He knows what's the media under the media scrutiny. He's just saying anything at this point. Oh yeah, we need new midfielders. No, I'm about just working with what you have. Oh, Guni, let me ask you. But obviously, I know we're gonna move on quickly. The Borough game. Do you think you get past Borough in the second leg
at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah,
I think we do. I think we do. But the thing is that the first leg should have never happened in the first place, and this is the point. Regardless of what the result is at Stamford Bridge, that first leg should have never happened in the first place, because the conclusion that many Chelsea fans, including myself, came out from that game, and please understand, I am being 1000% serious. I never lied to you lot. I never lied to anybody. Yeah, we look like a team that would not get out of the Championship if we was in that league. 100%.
It's a big statement.
But this is what I'm unfortunately what I have to witness, and I've got to call it for what it is. I'm not a deluded, shameless fan that's going to say, yeah, we're Chelsea. Look at our badge. Our badge is going to take us to the top, when it isn't. Currently, we are in a rut. Terrible. We are one of the worst performing teams in Europe. And I'm not even a stats guy, but I saw it the other day. My guy Tobe showed me. Like, we are one of the worst performing teams in Europe. Shocking.
Shambles. Absolute shambles, man. It hasn't been good, bro. And fair play to you for calling it out, because there's some of the Chelsea fans I listen to. Wow. Just wow. It's just, and then when I question their club, oh, how many Champions Leagues have you won? Look, stop worrying about Arsenal. Just look, concentrate on Chelsea, man. It's gone absolutely south, and you can't take it. And that's the way it is, man. But big up to you, Guni, for being a real one, saying that how it is. Flawless, let's come to you, man. Man United, Spurs. This weekend. Just talk to me about that fixture, man, about how you're feeling going into that one, bro. Come on.
Again, the same way I go into every Manchester United fixture, not confident, not looking forward to it, because I know whether we win, whether we lose, whether we draw, I know the performance is going to be bad. I know it's not going to be a cohesive performance. I know we ain't going to look good. I know it's not going to be entertaining. I really dislike watching us. Like, the amount of times I've almost fallen asleep. Like, I'd be on watch-alongs, moving around in my chair, just because talking to my co-host, shout out to Sheik, shout out to Eddie. Just to stay awake because I know we just lack quality all over. And then because we lack quality from an individual standpoint, then you're looking for your manager to put the team out there tactically and set up a system that helps. And the manager doesn't do that either. So this is why we look so bad. We don't create, we don't score. We scored less goals than Luton Town. We scored 22 league goals in 20 matches. We're awful. We're the third joint lowest goal scoring team in the Premier League currently. Only teams that have scored less goals than us are sat 19th and 20th. And I think we got the same as Palace. I think it's 22 as well, Palace. Everyone else in the league has scored more than us. And it's just bad all around. I know we ain't going to be, like I said, a cohesive unit. I know it's not going to be competitive and it's not going to be pretty to watch. But we still manage to get results somehow at times because some of the time the manager will just stumble across something that works. Romz already mentioned it in regards to Maino. So we do have players of individual quality out there. And Maino he's always a standout. That's why I don't hear the excuse of, oh, well, it's okay for player X to play bad because everyone else around him is bad. No, that is not the case.
It's flawless.
Go on.
Quickly, we spoke many times. Similar to Guni, I remember you said a lot of the players you would get rid of, but I know he's probably in that contingent that you would keep because I think Maino's a ball. You know, when you could just tell he comes in and just shines. Like all the dross around him is like, you know what? Just because you lot are bad, I've got that hunger. I'm gonna stand out. So yeah,
so I don't hear no excuse. Man played in the midfield with Bruno and McTominay and looked like a competent midfielder. That goes there shows his quality because those two are not helping. Those two are not helping you play to your full potential in that midfield. And King Hoddle mentioned this. Yes, Spurs do have a lot of players missing. Maddison, Son, Sarr, Basuma, Romero back. But we've lost to Newcastle C team before. We've lost to a Brighton B team. We are more than capable of losing to anybody. This is why I don't go into this game with confidence. Yeah, do I think we'll win? Yes. But that's more in hope than expectation. If we did a predictions with views free right now and all of you, man, predicted us to lose, I'm not going to argue you down. I have, like Guni was saying about Chelsea, I have nothing to back up Manchester United. I would love to sit here and say with confidence we are going to win this game, but I have nothing on show. Only thing I know we are consistent at is being inconsistent. That's legit in regards to results. Performance-wise, we don't play well. Occasionally we'll, like I said, if the manager has to, we'll be defensively solid. Like when midfield options are limited, he'll go back to the double pivot and then we look defensive, like when we played Liverpool away. Only reason why we put in that performance because those three midfielders were the only three midfielders we had available in Amrabat, Maino, and McTominay. If everybody's fit and available, all our midfielders, he don't play that midfield and we get beat heavily there. But because he had to play, and Amrabat and Maino will just be competent because they weren't great at Anfield, but just because they're competent and do a job, all of a sudden we look defensively solid again. Our attack, like I mentioned in regards to the goals, is just awful. Our attack is dreadful. We don't create at all against Premier League opposition. We even seen it against Wigan in the FA Cup. Yeah, we created in that game, and then you've seen us miss a whole load of chances, in particular in the first half. So, yeah, not looking forward to the game. I'm really, really not. But I think we'll win.
Can I ask you, Flawless, right?
Yeah.
And ask the panel this as well, bro. I want to talk about two players. I want to talk about Højlund and I want to talk about Rashford. Like for two different reasons. Because I'm looking at a young kid who's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I don't really think he's been horrendous, but at the same time, I don't think he's been outstanding by any means. But I just thought that was a bad move, man. That's a lot of money to put a hell of a lot of pressure on his shoulders. But he's got a player to his left who I was told was brilliant last season, 15 goals. This guy's outstanding. Get him on a contract, 375k a week. And I thought to myself, maybe it's me, and he did mud me a bit last season. But I've never thought he was as rated as what Man United fans think. When I was hearing Man United, oh, we've got our own Mbappe, all this crud, I was like,
yeah, that was
that's way too far. This is embarrassing for me, right?
It was the picture. You remember the picture? When
Yeah,
it's the picture.
Again, man, and that's just really, it's crazy. Go on, carry on, Potts.
But listen, my question is simple. Like you can slate off both of them if you want, but for me, I'm looking more at Marcus Rashford because you're the kid who's supposed to have been there and done it. You're the one that people are looking at as this guy's the poster boy. He's Mr. Man United. He's the nice guy. He's 375k. He's worth all the money. All this crap. 15 goals, I think it was last season. Had a really good season. Where's he gone, man? He's disappeared, bruv.
Yeah, he has. It's multiple things. In regards to Rashford, this is just a common theme we see with him. If you look at Rashford's numbers, season to season, and his performances, it's one good season, one bad season. One good season, one bad season. That's just what it is when you go back and look at it. Even I think it was the COVID season.
Facts.
He was exceptional. The season after he fell off. Then he came back and had a great season. Now this season he's fallen off. He is the definition of a confidence player. Like I always say this about Rashford. I've been saying this all season long. There is no middle ground with him. Rashford is either 8 out of 10 or above or 3 out of 10 or below. There is zero middle ground. It's very rare I've watched a Manchester United game and I go, Rashford was okay today. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. He was just okay. And he is the ultimate confidence player. And when his confidence is high, you see it. And when his confidence is low, you also see it. And now this is on the manager to take him out. Because I've been saying this. Drop Rashford. How much more do you need to see before you go? He's not at it for whatever reason it is. Maybe it's off the field issues. Maybe it's on the field issues. Maybe it's a mixture of both. But when the manager comes out and says, I'm going to play him regardless, that tells you all you need to know. And then ironically, when he did drop him the game after, we played, I think it was Villa. I was like, even though he didn't play well in that game, I was like, Rashford actually looked hungry again. He was actually doing all the things we used to criticize him for, like the general concern, running down blind alleys, being offside. These are things I've not seen this season. Him making runs, him looking interested. And I don't really look at body language because everyone's different. But then on top of that, not only is Rashford in regards to just his talent limited, then it's about having the players around you and having a system around you to help. And because the system's disappeared, and let's get a mistake, our attackers are rubbish. You know what I'm saying? Our attackers are terrible. Like they're awful. And this is why I defended Rashford last season when people were critical of him. Because I said, if you take his goals and assists away from us and just his overall input to the game, who is doing anything? And people are like, nah, you're wrong. And now we see it. Rashford's goals and assists have taken away, and we are bottom 3 in terms of output in the league in terms of goals. Because none of our attackers do anything. Even last season, none of our attackers hit double figures in the league, apart from him, and people wanted to criticize him. So yeah, in regards to Rashford, he's not good enough. It's about putting him in the correct environment where he can thrive and having him confident. But again, does he need to do more? Yes. So some of the stuff I see him do, like you can make runs. You're rapid. That's one thing you can consistently do is look for the ball. Because that's one thing going into Højlund is Højlund makes the correct runs. He don't make enough, but when I see him make the runs, he makes the correct runs. He's just limited. And again, he's another one. Is he in the best possible environment to succeed here? No. Look who's around him. He's got Bruno, Anthony, Garnacho, Rashford. All these players are shoot first. Who's creating? We're playing whole games and it's saying Bruno's played one pass into him. Now that's on the players around him. That's on the manager. That's on the system. Where I criticize Højlund is, though, you're not demanding the ball enough. You got to start shouting at, man. You know what I'm saying? It seems like you're a little bit, I don't know if it's because of your character. I don't know if it's because you're a little over in awe because you're at Manchester United, but there's no Mbappe next to you. There's no Lionel Messi next to you. Start shouting at, man. You got to start demand. Hey, give me the ball. You know what I'm saying? You got to start legit, like not punching people up, but grab, man. Remember when we was in lockdown and Hackney, Kaka was playing in London, playing in Hackney, and that guy told him to cut the ball back. That's the type of confidence Højlund needs. Højlund needs that confidence. Man told a Ballon d'Or winning, World Cup winning, Serie A winning, you know what I'm saying, Kaka to cut the ball back. That's the type of confidence Højlund needs. He needs my man's confidence because he don't shout at people. He's not demanding the football. That's why you out here getting ignored. So yeah, with Højlund, he is limited. He should be number 2. But again, that's on Manchester United's bad recruitment. Because we should have signed a senior striker and Højlund should be backing him up. Højlund should not be the number 1 currently. But yeah.
Man, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. Romz, I want to talk a little bit higher up at Man United because I think it's a mess. I think it's been a mess for a long time. And I actually blame some of the Man United fans for allowing this to just carry on as much as it is. I'm not saying that the fans can't are like the answer. They go stand outside Old Trafford and everything changes, but actually kick up a fuss because they can't be happy. I grew up watching Man United and I couldn't stand them. Now I'm actually laughing at them. I never thought they were doing that. Right?
They ruined my childhood, bro. I hate them. I hate them. So this is beautiful. But they ruined my childhood.
You know, I was 90s and 2000s at school getting absolutely rinsed apart by Man United fans. You know what I'm saying?
They were the days, man. They were the days.
Yeah, of course, man. Fergie and Wenger, wasn't it? So I had a lot of respect but hatred for them, right? Now, I don't even hate them anymore because they're so bad, and I don't respect what they're doing because it's a shambles. And I think their ownership needs to look themselves. I think they've spent a lot of money, but look at what they've spent it on. I think they've got board members that can't make decisions. I think they've got no sporting director. Man United, probably one of the biggest clubs in the world, doesn't have a sporting director. Obviously, that's looking to get changed now. The recruitment has been nothing short of shambolic. And if anybody comes into Man United, like this Jim Ratcliffe or whoever it be, which men he's bringing, whether it be Ashworth, Mitchell, the pair of them, I'd be saying, do not give that manager another penny to spend, because look at the mess that he's been bringing in. They're all from Ajax. And that's a shambles. And that, by the way, is on neglect of a football club, because that's what the Glazers have done. They've neglected Man United, because people will think they haven't because of what they've spent. But look at what they've given the money to people to spend it at. It is an absolute shambles, man. So I don't think enough is made of that. I think it's all on Ten Hag. Yeah, he's been poor, and I would get rid of him because I don't think he's good enough. But at the same time, you're going to bring another guy in, and the same things are going to happen if you don't get it right. So there needs to be footballing decisions made now, in my opinion, at the very, very top. Because for me, when Ranić and Mourinho and people like that have questioned it, they've been called toxic and told to get out of the club. Cristiano Ronaldo, it ain't the same here. Things have changed. Nope, get out of the club. That's poor, man. They're trying to tell you things aren't right. Make them right. So I'm looking higher up, Romz.
Do you know what it is, Dan? You hit the nail on the head, because my uncle, he's diehard United, and he said there's this notion with United fans that, we can't be successful under the Glazers. No, we can, because when Fergie was in charge, you won everything, multiple things. It's, you hit the nail on the head, Dan. It's the footballing people in charge. They need a director of football. They need other executives and whatnot upstairs. Because for me, Ten Hag's not good enough, but Ineos are coming in, and Flores know more than me. They spoke about having some British core, whatnot. But I think until they actually have footballing people in their structure, nothing's going to change, because I don't think they're 4 or 5 years away from competing for this title, whatnot. I think it can be done a lot sooner. But if they have wholesale changes in their footballing structure, I think if they also have a footballing structure this summer, get maybe a manager that gets them competing to that top 4, maybe wins a domestic, and then year 3, year 4. I know some United fans won't have patience. You'll get the cliche thing where United, but no, you're in a position where you have to have this patience. I think if you get these people in place, give it 2-3 years time, they could actually be competing for everything else. But I think you're spot on. When Ranić said, they need open heart surgery, I think there was a small minority of the United fan base like, get out of it. What are you on about? You're a manager. You had all these losses. But now they're seeing this come to fruition. He was not lying. Like you said, the Ronaldos and other people, example, saying, I don't want to use this as the best example, but even just down to the poor dinner lady. I come here, the dinner lady's the same. But that speaks volumes, because that's just one area of United. But I just think they need to change. Yeah, I'm
tired, man. Get rid of everybody.
What's crazy is the fact we're in the modern day society where science has evolved, sports science, whatnot. The fact Ronaldo's saying it's still the same after 10, 15 years of him leaving, that's crazy, because everyone's developing, everyone's improving by United. But listen, from a rival's perspective, this is beautiful to see. But one thing I know about football works in cycles, and this can't last forever, unfortunately. I wish it could, but this can't last forever. And I think slowly they're gonna push out the deadwood and get the people. Because Ten Hag, I'll chuck Poch into this. Ten Hag and Poch, right? As much as I want them to stay forever, it's just delaying the inevitable. I think both of them will be gone before March, because I can't see results improving. With that being said, I think United do win tomorrow, but it makes sense to why I think that Ten Hag always does enough just to keep his head above water. But I think Poch and Ten Hag, I can't see them last. Actually, March is too late. I would say, let's say by Valentine's Day, there'll be no love. They'll sack both of them. But I think within the next 4 or 5 weeks, both will be gone. And maybe it might be an interim. Maybe it might just be someone till the end of the season. But Ten Hag will be gone. I don't know who United are looking at. I've heard stuff of Potter. I don't know if it's that concrete. But slowly they're looking at who's the guy from Newcastle, that Ashworth guy, to come in as
I heard about that. Was it Dan Ashworth or something like that? I believe all this when I see it. Yeah,
same thing. That's what I'm just saying. Apparently, everything gets spread out. You don't know what's true from what's not. But if they were to get people like this in, because I've always said Ranić should have been their director of football and not actually the coach, because that would have been would have been a good point to start from. But the fact they made him head coach and how he's just gone, he's like, you know what? I've seen how it is here. I don't want to be in this environment. But as for United, they're going to have to get footballing people in for anything. So forget on the pitch. We already know what's happening on the pitch, but it starts, like you said, a fish rots from his head downwards, bro. And that's what's happening at United.
I think another issue that United have is they seem to have, when these players are fit, they seem to be untouchables. I don't understand how Marcus Rashford is always touching the pitch regardless of his form. I don't understand why Scott McTominay is always having to play. I mean, listen, sometimes he scores goals, but I see these guys have stinkers after stinkers and he's still playing games. Harry Maguire as well. These are issues that also need to be sorted out at the club. You can't just have your favourites playing week in, week out. Now, whether that carries on to the next manager, then you're going to have an indication that it's not necessarily the manager's fault. This is something that's obviously being said by the club as well, that these players need to have an influence in the club. So I think until you sort that out as well, you might find yourself in a bit of sticky territory there, man. But some of those players, they've got to go. Rashford being one of them, he's definitely got to go, in my honest opinion. For the level of consistency that this guy shows and for the amount of money that this guy's paid, in fact, that might make it even more difficult for him to move on, because what's he on? Is it 350k a week?
Something like that.
375, man.
Guni, this is where the sentiment comes in, though, bro, because the real ones at Flawless and that, they just want what's best for the club by any means. So they don't mind Rashford going. But I spoke to some United fans. Oh, he's in the top 6 ever goal scorers. Oh, he's come through Carrington. It's that. Forget all of that. You should want the best for your club.
Yeah,
but this is where sentiment, because we all know if there's one club where Player FC is the biggest, it's United. This attachment, I know we get it at all clubs, but United is very prevalent. That it's
Player FC different.
United. Do you know what I mean? Player FC is crazy over there. So I agree with you, Guni, 100%. I know Flawless does, but this sentiment, he's come through all these goals. Forget all of that. He's just not good enough. Just call a spade a spade. He is not good enough. I'm like you, Dan. I've never really rated him. He will have this purple. And I've even said this season, Rashford was going to go on his purple patch. Purple patch is inevitable. We're now in January. I'm thinking it might even not happen this year, because he could have a bad year, but he goes through 6-7 games in a row. It still could happen. Man.
If he's still here next season, it will happen next season. This is what it is, man. I keep saying
and then he's back. And then he's back.
And then the season after, he's back. And then the season after, he'll be poor and so forth. Man.
How old is he, Flawless, now? How old is he?
26, I think he is. Is he 25, 26, I think? Something like that. So
He's
like,
crazy.
it's not like he's a kid. You know what I'm saying? Or he's young. That's just what he is. Some players are just inconsistent. That is Rashford. That's why if we were to sell him tomorrow, cool. That's how I feel about everybody. There's no one I'm fighting for at this. There's no one I'm fighting for. Forget the squad. There's no one I'm fighting for to stay in a position at the club. Manager, one gone, coaches, anyone in the ownership, everybody can go. We need to blow it up and start again. You know what I'm saying? You got the chef serving up raw chicken. Everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired. Anyone who's been involved with this, you know what I'm saying? Involved with this failure. Like, everybody got to go, man, and start all over again.
I'm with you, man. I don't think it would be it would be crazy to say that. Like, people have said it to me at Arsenal, start it again, blow it all up. I've been there before years ago. Listen, Man United, Guni, I'll bring you in on this one. When was the last time Man United had a striker that scared you? Was it Van Persie and Rooney? Did you have to go back that far?
Let me think before I answer too quickly.
Because I was thinking, I don't know, has it been that long?
No, I think it has. I'll be honest. I mean, they had Ibra, but Ibra wasn't Ibra when he was at Man United, respectfully, compared to what he was in his career. For me, the last deadly hitman that they had at that club was Van Persie. You'd be hard pressed to find a better striker than that ever since.
That's mad. Like, Flawless, that's mad, bro.
That is crazy, because I was trying to think about it as you asked the question, and I'm like, who's the last striker? I was like, he's the guy. Like, he gonna score, he gonna create, he gonna cause havoc. Like, I can say and it probably is Van Persie. But that just goes to show how bad our very is, because there's very few players over the past 10 years I've rated in general. There's very few.
Signed Cavani way too late. You know, Ibrahimovic too late.
Did friggin' Agallo and all these type of players.
Lukaku, people are saying, but
Lukaku's not that. Like, as much as Lukaku scored goals, he didn't do enough. I always say this about Lukaku. But actually, ironically, I criticize Højlund as I criticize Lukaku. Too easy to play against. How you 6 foot plus, strong and quick, and defenders are comfortable. Defenders shouldn't have a comfortable time playing against you with those physical attributes. Even if they're,
you should be imposing yourself.
Imposing yourself. Running it. All Højlund has to do, run the channels. That's a problem. Be a nuisance. But too easy to play against. I'm more forgiving of him because he's younger, but that was my criticism of Lukaku when he was at Manchester United. way too easy to play against.
You know what? In that regard, Flawless, I'm going to compare it to one of my strikers because Lukaku and your Højlunds, they're probably technically better than a Nunes. But what Nunes prevails at is what they should, because you could say they're arguably, I wouldn't say a bit quicker, but they're a bit bigger. They should be imposing themselves. He's a nuisance, and that's where they should kind of learn from him. But I think you're spot on. But back to your question, Dan, when you said that, I was like, similar to Goons, I thought Ibra had a decent season, but it wasn't the Ibra we saw at the Inter when he was in Italy at Juve and whatnot. He had I think he was top goal scorer that year, Flores, and he won 2 trophies.
And he missed so he had decent that game. Yeah, he missed so many chances.
Exactly. But in terms of frightening, RVP, what goes there and wins the league in the first season, crazy. We were all petrified. But yeah, it would and that's going back 11 years now? 11 years?
It was 2013, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2013.
Yeah,
that's scary, crazy. Man. Like they're saying in the chat, right? Ibrahimovic, Cavani, Falcao, what's his name? Weghorst, Igalo. It's like, what is going on? This is Man United, man. They've got Harry Maguire and Evans at the back. And like, let's be real. I said it. I don't know who Shah was on yesterday. Claude Puel had that centre-back pairing in 2016, and Man United have got it in 2024. What the hell is going on? That is absolutely crazy, man. I'm like, what is happening? It's Man United, bro. It's absolutely scary. But listen, Flawless, might as well get your prediction for the game, bro. What are you saying?
Yeah, that being said, all that I said, 2-1 Manchester United. It's the type of game we'll win. It's just the type of game we'll pull out a result. And everyone will be like, oh, yeah, this is the starting of we turned the corner, all types of, like, same way after we got the result at Liverpool, when we beat Chelsea, for example, and then we go and lose the next game. Typical of us.
What is your next game? That brings me on to my point. What is your next game after this?
Game after Spurs? I don't even know. Let me check. I'm not even sure who it is. I'm trying to remember. It might be an FA Cup tie. It might be an FA Cup tie.
Yeah, I think it is. Because Flores, this is what I said about the Villa game. Yeah?
And then it's Wolves away. So we easily FA Cup tie. Play that FA Cup tie and win. And then we could easily go and lose to Wolves.
Yeah. Because you know what I said, Flores, after the Villa game, I think I even said it on your channel. I just knew you would lose against Forest the next game, and it's down to tactical reasons as well. Like Villa threw away that game, but we know as much as your strike force isn't clinical, what they all have in common, your Højlund, your Garnachos, your Rashford, your Anthony, they're all quite quick. You play that high line, you're gonna get chances, and you might need a high volume of chances, but you will eventually score. And I said, you know what, cool, they've won this game. They're going to lose. I actually predicted 2-1 at Forest, and it was exactly right, because Forest will sit back when they need to. There's not that space in behind. United with low blocks, who's going to do anything? And I think you're spot on. Sorry, Dan, but I'm going to do the same prediction as Flawless. I think 2-1 as well, because I think Spurs will even take the lead. It's one of them games you're going to come away from it thinking, Spurs battered them pillar to post. Possession stats will probably be higher than that. But United will just know how to smash and grab. And as much as United are poor, I can never just completely write them off at Old Trafford. Never. Even when we've been at our pomp the last 4 or 5 years, they're still at Old Trafford. And I think it's just a game where Spurs will be all over them and United just nick the win.
And like you said, Spurs will play that highlight as well.
Exactly. So you'll get space in behind, innit?
See, I don't know about you, Guni, but I think Spurs are going to bloody win this, man. I've gone 2-1. I've gone 2-1 Spurs, man. I've gone 2-1 Spurs, and I've actually gone 2-1 Fulham as well. So I think both of you guys might hold it.
That was my prediction for Chelsea Fulham as well. I reckon Fulham are going to do us 2-1. I reckon Tottenham are going to go to Old Trafford and get a result as well. But you know what absolutely kills me? I was just thinking this earlier. Is Manchester United, Old Trafford, Chelsea, Stamford Bridge were two of the hardest fortresses for any team to come to, and now look at what we've become.
Yeah,
Guni, the reason why I hate your two, obviously I went to school in the late 2000s, whatnot. The reason why I hate your two clubs the most, because it was United, Chelsea, Champions League, FA Cup, Premier League. It was you two. And this is why I hate your club. So for me seeing this, bro, this is beautiful, bro. This is actually beautiful. But you're right. It used to be fortresses. Crazy.
I still hate going there, by the way, but at Old Trafford and Stamford Bridge. But when I go there now, I'm like, nah, this ain't the same. And don't get me wrong, we lost there last season. We lost there with Rashford caught us on the break twice, right? But
So did we, to be fair.
yeah,
So did we.
and that can happen, right? But you don't go there now with the same hatred and fear, because let's be real, we were a banter club for a long time and still are, to be fair, in some people's eyes. So when we've gone there, mostly Anfield is another one, Romz 4s, 5s I've had to see there. It's just been horrendous for me. But you go there late and you think, actually, man, I'm not as nervous going to Stamford Bridge now, or I'm not as nervous going to Old Trafford now. It's crazy, man. It really is. But just shows you how far the clubs have fallen, man. It really does. Listen, to close to the next bit, obviously Liverpool and Arsenal don't play Romz, so I wanted to just come up with a bit of a debate chat, really. Jason Cundy came out on TalkSport and said that Van Dijk is a little bit of an overrated player and has only had a couple of good years at Liverpool. Thought that was a little bit harsh, personally. I know what he's trying to do. We all know what he's trying to do, but let's have the debate, man, because I'm going to say it now. I think Van Dijk is pretty much fairly rated, and in some cases, in some people's eyes, is underrated, because when you buy a centre-back and you go win a league and a Champions League, that means you're half decent, right? Let's have it right. He might not be in the Rio Ferdinand and John Terry stature for some, and that's cool. And I probably agree with that. But he's definitely in the bracket for me with the companies and the Tony Adams and Campbells, and you can keep going with a few of those names, Village Stams, all those guys, right? For me, some people may disagree, but I look at it and I think this player, to be fair to him, deserves a lot of credit. And actually, this season, when everyone told everybody he was washed, has probably, for me anyway, along with Saliba, been the best in the Premier League. So where are you at with this one, Romz?
The way, if I do a little timeline, right, his first season for us, so he come in halfway through the season, we got to the Champions League and lost against Madrid. We all know we needed a keeper. Remember, we had Karius, we had his centre-back partnership and Lovren, which went the best. We've then brought in a Matip and Gomez, and we've signed Alisson. The next season, he propels us to that Champions League, lose the league by a point, lose the one game to the team we lost the league by. Next season, we go and win the league. COVID year after that, he gets the horrible injury. I don't want to swear on the panel, but I hate Pickford. I'll never like him. I don't care what he does for England. I hate Pickford, right? Now, the season after that, when you could say we were trying to go for all four, that's the season where he should have been slowly integrated and he's going to get going. But that season, for me and a lot of Liverpool fans, he was sublime. The season where we were battling on all four fronts, sublime. Then last season, we all know as defense, you need your sixes to do their job because it can help you out. Worlds of good, right? We know what our midfield was at yesterday. We had last season, we had midfielders that couldn't run. So when Condi's saying he's only had 1 or 2 years, no, he in my opinion, he's had about 3 or 4. They were spaced out due to the injury, but he's had about 3 or 4. If you're going to go elite, I'd probably go 2017 to about 2020. So let's say 2.5 elite season. And I've always said with the centre-back debate, and maybe it's because I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm a bit biased. On ability, you three may disagree, people in the chat may disagree. He's the best I've seen on ability. I can't say that overall, though, because overall, that's when you have to include trophies and longevities. This is where I put your Ferdinands and your Terrys above him overall. If we're just basing what they can do with a football, and Rio and Terry were cold, proper cold. One thing I've always said about John Terry is his passing is very underrated for me. Chelsea fans know about it. Chelsea fans know about it, but I think rival fans don't appreciate JT. JT could pass left and right like there's no tomorrow. Rio, very elegant on the ball. I have them three personally as my all-time. Sol Campbell, I didn't really see in his prime. I was a bit too young. So in my lifetime, it's always been Van Dijk, Ferdinand, and Terry. But like I said, if I had to base it just on ability, I have Van Dijk number 1. But overall, them lot were doing it for longer. They won more. I've always said for Van Dijk, he can't just have one of each. It's not a pick and mix. I have one of this, one of that, one of this, one of that. You need multiples of something. And that's why when Cundy's saying he's only had one or a few good seasons, I think it's disingenuous. Look, I saw that and ignored it. I know it's a talking point, but when you see foolishness, you just have to ignore it. But for him to say that, he's just very cheeky. If he was to say maybe he rates the other two a bit more, cool. But for me, he hangs with the Rios and the Terrys. That's the way I see it. He hangs with them. And this is why it's so frustrating. I've said for years, we need, even if we just had one of, out of the big two, Prem or Champions League, even if we just had one or more of each, or even just one more Prem or one more Champs, you can at least say he's got multiples of something. But it's frustrating. But Jason Cundy's being disingenuous, in my opinion. Disingenuous.
I think it's fair, man. Guni, what are you telling me? Because Rio, Terry, I'm going to put them ahead of them still. I think they're the two best I've seen. But after that, there's a whole list of them, and there's a little bit of a bracket. It doesn't mean it's a huge bracket, and that's disrespect to Van Dijk if people think that is the case. But I do think he's up there. I think Chase and Cundy's trying to get some clicks or something, man.
Personally, I wouldn't put him up there with Rio, Terry, or even Ricardo Carvalho, who I think is better than John Terry. I don't care how Chelsea fans say that.
Fair.
Wow.
You know what's crazy is, I agree with you on that, Guni. I think
great
he's
shout.
That guy was that guy was one of the main reasons why, number one, Terry looked even more elite than he did. Than he was 100%. And remember, we conceded a ridiculously low number of goals with that partnership. But that's not to disrespect Van Dijk. This is the thing: is when you say things like he's not up there with these players, you're talking about the elites of the Premier League, and quite rightly, like you said, Romz, is one of the main factors that puts them there is that you can count more than one of those Premier League trophies that they've won. Their silverware list is long. Do you know what I mean? So unfortunately, that does count in the conversation. In terms of ability, there's no doubt. Like he's almost a complete centre back. He probably is a complete centre back. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's just the accolades for me that put him in the bracket below. But in terms of like what he can do with the ball and when he was at his best, I don't blame you for saying that he's up there. Honestly, I can see why you're saying that.
You know what, Guni, as well, bro? You made another good point. It's not even just accolades, because this is unfortunate for Van Dijk, but with the things with your Campbells, your Terrys, your Rios, your Vidiches, right? They were doing, the sample size is much longer. They were doing it for 6-7 years plus. And where Van Dijk was at Southampton and a Celtic, yeah, he done well there, but it's not at the elite team. It's not in the elite competitions where you want to base him over a wider sample size. Where at us, he's only had about 2, 3, 4 elite seasons, where the others, not only they had the accolades, you saw it for a longer period of time. So that's where I think it doesn't fall in Dijk's favor as well. But again, if we're just going on pure bit, it's like, for me, it's even like Harry Kane, right? I've said the last 2-3 years, accolades in that, he's not won anything. But if I just go what I've seen, what he can do with a football, some people might say Benzema, some people might say Lewandowski. I've always said Harry Kane last 3-4 years because on pure ability. But the minute you start using the word overall, you can't even include him in that. He's done it for long, but accolades are so massive. When you say let's put our trophies on the table, if you've got half of what someone else has, it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. You know what I mean? You have to have more.
Yeah, man. Listen, Flawless. Lastly, man, what you said about Van Dijk, top 3 in Premier League all time, top 5, or outside of that? Where you at, bro?
He's not. I don't think he's top 3. Don't get me wrong. Like Van Dijk's top quality, but is he top 3? No. Well, that's just me though. I say all the time, best centre back I've ever seen in the Premier League is Stam. You know what I'm saying? I think he's criminally underrated. Yap Stam.
He was unreal.
He's a modern day centre back then. So he could have played now.
So
in regards to
yeah.
Like he don't get mistaken, he was quality back then. But what I'm saying is his game translates to now. Because as good as he was defensively, he was also great on the ball. He also had the back. He was the combination of two. Because people always look at like defenders being more physical or defenders being better on the ball. He was the perfect blend.
Stam. This is what I say about this guy that used to absolutely fry my brain. He was about 6'5" or however big he was. But did you know how fast that guy was? He had no right to be able to move that quick. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's cool. And that's what it is. That's what comes into the physicality, the balance. For a man his size, you shouldn't be able to move like that. So I always say, like, Yap Stam as number 1. And then what it is with Van Dijk, it's hard to get into that type of category because what are we talking about? Are we talking overall ability? Are we talking longevity? Are we talking trophies? Because he doesn't have the accolades to match his ability because I think he's top quality. So that's why I just look at overall ability. Who are you taking? Does Van Dijk make my Premier League all-time 11? No, he's probably somewhere in the 6 to 10 route. If I'm doing a top 10, he makes my top 10. But he's not making my top 5 when I'm looking at a Yap Stam. I'm looking at a Rio Ferdinand. I'm sorry, I'm looking at a Vincent Kompany. I have to add a Vincent Kompany into there. Sol Campbell, criminally underrated for what he did as well. Guni mentioned it. Carvalho. I think he's probably the most underrated centre back for what he did. And I think it was because he was alongside John Terry. Carvalho was top quality, and that's a very tough 5 to break. So yeah, does Van Dijk get into my top 5? No, but it's very tough to get into that top 5. And I know after this finishes, there's going to be a couple centre backs I've forgotten about, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could possibly add them. So I don't actually.
Nobody mentions Tony Adams, man. I don't know if people were maybe too young. Some people are too young to remember.
I remember Tony Adams.
Man, unreal.
But then it's like, who am I taking out for a Tony Adams? Is then
listen,
that's
tough.
the issue.
Tough,
it's
man.
extremely
Vidic
tough
as well. You know, Vidic was unreal with Rio.
Rio makes my like I say, Rio makes my top 5 comfortably. I'm saying him and Star, they're my top 2.
Rio and Terry are definite for me in top 5. That's like not the top 3 for me. They're definite for top 3. But this is why it's good to debate, man. Company for me is right up there as well. I thought he was
Company again. He's very similar to Stam. How I look at him in regards to the blend, because not only did he have all the physical attributes that you would want, but he was also great on the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's how I look at it with Vincent Kompany. And then we want to talk. It's not like he was playing next to Otamendi at times. It's not like he was playing next to great centre backs and they're winning leagues and things of that nature. So yeah.
Who's the centre back he played with? I think they signed him from Bayern. He had a ponytail.
Di Michele. Was it Di Michele?
Yeah, he was even playing. You've got to rate, because that's the thing with your Vidic's, your Fernandes, your Terry's, Carvalho. They always had that elite player next to them. I think you hit the nail on the head, Flawless. The reason why Company, I think, doesn't get as much respect as he deserves, because he never always had that another elite centre back next to him. He was normally doing it by himself, and no, you're
spot on, Lescott or one of the Di Michele's, or he's a Mangala.
And also, let's keep it real. He also played for Manchester City, which works against him. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If he had played for Liverpool, if he had played for Arsenal or Chelsea, we're talking about him in a different light. But then that works. On the flip side is that you don't get the criticism you then receive if you fall short. Like, so that's just right. But yeah, Company top quality. But yeah, Van Dijk, to say he's had a couple of good seasons is it's
mad.
He's in the top 10 for me.
Mad. It's crazy, man. Listen, we're gonna wrap up the show, but I need 20 seconds from each of you because I can't talk about it anymore. Thoughts on Arsenal, Mikel Arteta? Start with you, Guni. Let's go around. What are you saying right now, bro?
You know my thoughts. You know my thoughts on Arteta. I think he's taking you as far as he can take you. I don't really see him progressing you onto the promised land, quote unquote, the Champions Leagues and the Premier Leagues. If he wins nothing this season, he's definitely got to go. But your ambition's got to be high in terms of hiring another manager.
Facts. Flawless.
How much more evidence that Arsenal fans need to see before you go, this guy is not the guy? Like, how much more he spent money? Like, I'm hearing, the squad's not good enough, or the bench is not good enough. Man spent north of 600 million. These are statements that should not be being made. And then you look at certain decisions he's making, players he's playing in certain positions, players you sign. Kai Havertz, awful. You know what I'm saying? And that is the only signing that's worse than the signing Mason Mount was you lot signing Kai Havertz. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, and people watching you lot fail at it. You lot doing the same thing you did last season. It's just that you've fell off earlier. That's what it was leading the race and then fell off. Was leading the race at Christmas, falling off now out of the FA Cup in the manner. And yeah, you can criticize the individual players, but who's co-signed? This is now Arteta's team. So that's why I'm not hearing that. This is his tactics. So you can't. And for where Arsenal are trying to go, he's not good enough. It's time to move him on. If you're still backing and trusting the process, do it. Like I say, man, Arsenal fans, drink the Kool-Aid, man. Back it. Continue.
Do you know what it is? It's as simple as this. Let's say 2006 onwards. So since the Invincibles, you want to say it's the history of the Tottenham. It's the history of the Arsenal. Round March, Arsenal and pressure. Don't joke with that one. It doesn't go hand in hand. Like I said, 8th, 5th. Yeah, I wouldn't even call last season. This might be disingenuous. I wouldn't even call last season really a title race. For me, a title race goes down to the wire, or maybe the penultimate game of the season. The fact there was 4 or 5 games to spare pots, and it was done. Yeah. I agree with Guni. I think he will be sacked because I don't think he's winning anything. I think you could have a respectable run in the Champions League, but the minute you go to a Bernabeu or an Allianz, I just think the young players might crumble.
We're not even going to get through against Porto, Romz, at this rate. I can't even lie.
You don't think you get?
No. I respect you enough. I think you get to Semis max.
Where
I
we're
think you
playing.
knock out Porto. I think you knock out Porto. I think
I
you're.
hope so, man. If we don't,
But
then
then
we
I
have to go.
read something, Dan. No, they've not lost at the. I think their stadium's called the Dragao for like the last 30 games or something. Their home record's
How many
crazy.
times have we beaten Porto at Porto? Anyone want to guess?
I'm just gonna guess none. By how you said that,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say
exactly.
none.
None is the answer. So there we go.
I just think just to round off, I think. Do I think Arsenal will sack him at the end of the season, even if he wins anything? No, I think it's just
Nope.
too friendly. I think the club just love him too much. But you should sack him, and I agree with Guni. I just think maybe a quarters. I think you get past the last 16, a quarters or semis max in Champions League, and I think third place. I think us and City will tussle again 1 and 2, and yeah, I think he should go, but he won't. But that's my opinion on you lot, because I just don't think you're bringing in anyone. And if you do bring in someone this window, it will be underwhelming again. I'll say that. I don't think you're going to bring that needle mover in. So, yeah.
And then their fans say, "Well, what do you expect? We can't sign anyone because of this profit and loss. So why do we spend 65 million pounds on the German drafting? Like, what's happening?"
Yeah,
like,
that side of it is still baffling to me.
So
And then people backing it, and it's like,
yeah,
Kai Havertz's level. Like I just said about your manager, like I say about mine, and said, how much more evidence do you need before you can make a fair assessment and go?
You know what infuriated me? You know what infuriated me when I can't remember what page it was, or I think Berbatov even come out and said himself. But the comparison with him and Berbatov, how dare you? How dare you?
Hey, Bergkamp, man. I heard Bergkamp.
Yeah,
Bergkamp. Well, that's what it was.
Crazy. It's crazy, man. But that just signing just
Shield, right? And this is a true story. I walked out the Community Shield at Wembley. I bumped into Turkish and I said, "Oh man, that Kai Havertz, I'm not too sure. Everyone's telling me he had a good game." I said, "What? Really? I thought he was all right. He held the ball up a bit and he flicked it on and passed it all right, but that's not a great game." And I had people coming out to me going, "I think we might have a Van Persie here." And I'm like, "Huh? Sorry?
Do you know what, Dan? Yeah, there's something about the Community
What are they
Shield.
watching, man? Like, what?
I think our fan bases drink this mad Kool-Aid, bro, because when we beat City in a Community Shield, it was Nunes is going to be better than Haaland. And I'm like to my fan base, chill out, bro. Nunes is not Haaland. So I think once you beat, maybe it might be the sun gets to the head. You know what I mean?
You know what it is? Because you know what it is? It's the new car smell. New season. People haven't watched the team for that long, so they forget the level of the players they're at. It's like, all right, all the previews you've been doing, that new season optimism. That's what that is. And then you get a win in the first season because it's the first semi-competitive game, because it's a glorified friendly. People are like, yes, and then you lose that opener.
And it's back to reality. Like, I was hearing Berbatov as well as the other one. It's going to be our Berbatov, and I'm like, okay, these guys just.
But I blame Berbatov as well, Dan, because I think Berbatov himself said this is the player most similar to me. Is that, bro? What are you watching? What are you watching?
Smart. United legend, man. He knows what he was
doing.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he was doing, man. Shout out Berbatov. Say it again. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I didn't look at it like that, Flawless. I didn't actually look at it like that.
If I was Berbatov, people, I'd say, yeah, say that again, man. You know what I'm saying? Let the Arsenal fans get gassed up about him. 100%.
Give him more minutes. Give him more minutes.
Give him more time. More Mate,
it's mad. It is actually insane. Like I had the night last night. Wow. I urge you to do me a favor, actually, all of you three and everybody watching. Watch that yesterday that I did with Tom Canton and Kevin Campbell. And please explain to me that I'm not deluded, because the pair of them are just talking to me like I've got three heads. Like, what are you talking about? Can you not see Kai Havertz is a good player? Can you not see that this guy needs more time? We need more transfer windows. We ain't going to spend. And I'm thinking, are these guys on LSD or is it just me? Like, what is going on here? Like, I don't understand.
Man, they on LSD, man. They're on that Kool-Aid, man. They drank the Kool-Aid. I'm telling you.
Delusional.
I just don't even understand it. Listen, we're going to leave it there. Make sure you do me a favor, people. We're getting very, very close to 15K already, which is our next target. So make sure we can get that as soon as possible. Do me a favor. Make sure you do exactly the same to Man Knows Football. Make sure you head over to Sarcasm City TV as well and follow Flawless and the gang. And also go and follow Romz on all of his socials. You'll see him all over streams as well. I'm on at 7 p.m. tonight with Troops on his channel, so please head over to Troops TV. It'll be myself and him talking all things Arsenal, I imagine. So big up to all of you. Guni, absolute pleasure having you on, my friend, again.
Yeah, man. Always good to be on the channel. And guess what? I've got some parting news, a parting gifts for other rival fans to laugh at us yet again. Chelsea are best placed team to sign Estevan Willian, aka Messinho, as they are willing to trigger his 60 million euro clause. Guess how old he is? 16 years old.
This is where I say this is where I do the Snoop Dogg thing. Who? Who? Who is that?
Back the table. Who?
Who even is that?
You might as well sign the actual Willian instead of Willian whatever his name is.
He's 16, you know. That's
Oh,
crazy.
Guni, you know what? I don't feel sorry for your club. I feel sorry for you, brother.
I
I
do,
actually
man.
feel sorry for you. Oh
It's
my
mad,
god.
bro. It's mad. Listen, you just gotta laugh at it now, innit? Because oh Jesus, that is mad. Anyway, big up Guni. Make sure you go show him some love, man. Flawless, always a pleasure having you on, my friend.
Hey, yeah, man. Big up for having me. Thoroughly enjoyed the show and large up the chat as well. Make sure you run up the likes here, subscribe, man. Get pots to 15K as well. And yeah, please head over to Sarcasm City TV on YouTube, people. And head over to the Twitch right now because the gang are actually doing an AFCON preview, doing a preview for AFCON.
Nice.
So make sure you head over to the Sarcasm City TV Twitch, people, live right now. But yeah,
There
big
we
up for
go.
having me, pots.
Come on. Nah, come on. Always welcome, bro. You know that. Romz, love, bro. Always love with
Yeah.
you, man.
No, big up thanks family, big up Guni, big up Flores, big up everyone in the house, man. And yeah, Sunday be the roundup on Big Six Bants, Monsters Channel, Tottenham and Spurs. So catch me on there. Gonna take a little break today and tomorrow. But yeah, and just there's not really much football. I'm gonna try and enjoy AFCON. Don't know much about the teams, but I'm rooting for Ghana, man. My one of my good friends is Ghanaian, so he's not confident himself though, but he's like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna root for.
Fair play, man. Fair play to you. Listen, I would have said I wanted Garner out pretty soon, but I don't now because Thomas Partey hasn't gone. So I'm all good with him to stay and just go and see who wins. I haven't got a preference, to be fair. I just want to see some good football. So big up to all of you. Big up to everyone in the chat. Thanks for super chats, for comments. Thanks for everything. We will see you next time. Take it easy. We're out of here. Peace.
Gareth Southgate out.